You have a high-pitched girly voice.
I've been saving some of our pre-show conversations and putting them in the episode.
Governor, have you?
Yeah, there's some good
I
ones.
bet there's some doozies.
Nothing too obscene. But there's
Well,
some-
you mean the ones you kept anyway?
Yeah, no, there's a couple of them. Like, we were just talking about random stuff, like you insulting me, and then we go right into it. Oh, here we go. Dan learning his stupid languages.
What language you learning?
Welsh.
You plan on going there?
I hope so someday. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to do the grammar. Plus, I read somewhere you have to, like, choose north or south because the dialects are a lot different.
Yeah, I would imagine it's like being here. Go down south, you're like, what the fuck did you just say?
All right, welcome to the Alpha Nerd Podcast. I'm your main host, Kyle, along with my two cinema co-hosts, Greg and Dan.
How you doing?
I don't know. How you doing?
Good. I don't know how I'm doing.
All right,
Doing fine.
so we'll get right into the news. I kind of talked to Dan for a hot 2 seconds. We'll start with Amber Heard's reemerging with some stuff.
She's not really real merging.
Well, with some drama.
She's trying to, like, stay...
Yeah, I heard that she said Jason Momoa was drunk on set and cosplaying as
Johnny
Depp.
But we said the same. He dresses like him.
Yeah,
since
he looks
forever.
like a bigger, beefier version of him.
What I said to him was, like, either he could be copying Johnny Depp, he has his own style, or he's copying his wife. Because his wife, Lisa Bonet, dresses just like him. They have dreadlocks and all the weird...
They're not together anymore, are they?
And they're not together anymore.
Right, yeah.
Or ex-wife, anyway. They have very similar styles.
Yeah,
All of them. And she's like the same age as Johnny Depp.
I mean, if you looked at him, you would say, okay, that's a bigger, beefier version of Johnny Depp. I mean, it's not a far...
Like, every time you see him out in the street when they showed him with his security team, which he's like a foot taller than the security team, he's always in the, like, droopy...
baggy pants. He's in baggy clothes.
All the not satin. What's the...
Linen.
All the linen clothes. Like the linen shirt. And it's always baggy, just like Johnny Depp wears.
She's just trying to become relevant again. So
yeah, exactly. And she's just mad because she's not allowed to go to the premiere for Aquaman 2. And they cut out a bunch of her
She
scenes.
shouldn't be. I guess Elon Musk wrote a fucking...
letter, yep.
Disney.
I was just about to say that too.
I didn't even know they were...
He wrote a letter and just threatened litigation.
He threatened
They
Disney.
had a relationship at some point?
Yeah, well, she was cheating on Johnny Depp with... So
I never paid attention to this.
She was...
No.
I don't know what the timeline is. It was either during her relationship with Johnny Depp that she was fooling around with him and James Franco, or it was right after. Like she cheated on him with James Franco. She cheated on Johnny Depp with James Franco.
100%.
100%.
Why?
No idea.
It's James Franco. I'd do him.
And then somewhere it's either at the end of their relationship or right after she got with Elon Musk.
Well, anyway.
Moving on. So
I understand where you're saying.
But no, that's the long and short of it, and I think you're right. I think it's just
he
her
threatened him before he owned Twitter.
Yeah.
Or X, or whatever the hell he's calling it now.
Yeah, X is what it's called.
X gonna give it to you.
But they didn't
he didn't
change the domain name, though.
It's funny because every time I see it, I'm like, what the fuck is X? And then I'm like, oh, that's right.
Why?
Half the time I turn on my phone, is
hilarious.
Is that a porn site now?
But it's hilarious because he didn't change the domain name.
Yeah, no, it's still...
Because it's one of the most famous domain names in the world, so why would you? But he changed the name anyway.
Everything's superficially changed. Like, I don't know.
And I guess some of the people, like I watch a lot of sports stuff, and they, at the beginning, were still calling it Twitter, and I guess he, like, gets on people if you don't call it X, I guess. Because they start calling it that. And I'm like, what is that?
Well, the NFL now, if you hear them talk about it, they'll call it X/Twitter.
Yeah, well,
whatever. So, yeah, because I was laughing when I read that about Amber Heard. I was like, oh, now she's going after the King of Atlantis.
Yeah. Yeah, I read all that too.
Yeah. So that was a quick. Second one, Rachel Zegler, the one who's playing Snow White.
Is it Zegler or Ziegler?
Whatever. Who cares?
It's Zegler.
Okay. She...
Because it's Z-E-I. That's Zeg.
Yeah. She may be fired, and they're going to reshoot and replace her for Snow White because she can't shut the hell up for 10 minutes.
Shut up.
I mean, why? Just they didn't care about Ezra Miller. I mean,
well, that's WB. That's not Disney.
And plus, they don't have a dumpster fire of a movie to try to get their money back from either.
Oh, it's going to be a dumpster fire.
I know, that's what I'm saying. They're trying to minimize the damage.
Yeah, they're trying to recuperate.
They spent all this money filming all this stuff, and there's probably a bunch of scenes that don't have her in it.
Oh, without a doubt.
So what they're gonna do is just replace her and hopefully, salvage something.
CGI her in.
No,
Photoshop somebody over.
Superimpose a new girl on her body.
Probably a good 30 to 40% doesn't have her in it. So if you have 60%, it's still better than nothing.
Right.
Considering no one's gonna watch it if she's in it at all.
Yeah.
Although I'm never gonna watch it anyway, but
Yeah.
I don't think any of us are itching to go see it.
You might watch it because of me.
She has no interest.
Really?
Nope. None.
Has she seen the original Snow White?
Yep. She's like, Dad, I want to watch Batman and scary movies with you guys. Okay.
Now, when she says scary movies, she doesn't mean
she wants scary. She wants to try.
The last time she tried scary, she had to shut it off.
That was 3 years ago. So let's give her a shot.
What was it? The original one.
No. She was fine with the original one. It was the
new one,
the newer one. So yeah. So they're talking about firing her. They already replaced her on Paddington Bear because she was supposed to be in the next Paddington Bear movie. And they already they said they came across and they're like, we are recasting that part of the movie due to strike stuff.
Paddington Bear? You mean the second one? Because there's already one Paddington Bear movie.
There's supposed to be a second one, but they're recasting her.
Oh, okay.
And they're like, it's due to strikes that they're just recasting. Just her.
These strikes need to end. I need Deadpool 3 to come out.
So there's that. So there's been talk from people in the production office that heard from the production studio that they're talking about recasting and stuff. How much of it's actually true? It's probably not. But I could also see them doing that because they lost so much on Little Mermaid. They lost so much on the last couple movies. They need to do something to recoup funds. Should start with make good movies, but So that's as interesting as news.
Quit trying to remake classics.
No, there's nothing wrong with me remaking classics.
Well, look, even The Lion King wasn't that good.
The remake?
Yeah.
It wasn't bad, though.
It wasn't terrible, but having that same stuff happen with more realistic characters didn't really work. It was weird. Especially the hyenas and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That was weird. When they get lost, that was fine. The beginning.
I went and seen it at the drive-ins, and I wasn't upset with it. I mean,
me neither. I just didn't think.
The only thing that I didn't like, they took out Rafiki. They took out Rafiki's part where
he's relevant.
Yeah, the only part where he's relevant. Really, you remember in the original where he finds Simba, and he tells him to come back, and he's like, it's my past that it hurts, whatever. And he hits him in the head with the stick.
Yeah, the most important scene where he
he's like, yeah, but it's in the past, let it go. And he smacks him in the head with the stick. And he's like, yeah, it hurts now.
Yeah, you know why they took it out? Because he got hit with a stick.
Didn't want to hurt.
Seriously, they're paranoid about any sort of it's child abuse.
But they took the only.
First of all, Simba was a grown ass man when he did
literally
that.
one of the most important parts of the movie to take out of it.
No, I agree with you.
That was the only thing that
promoting violence or whatever.
It was the only thing that irritated me.
It's promoting violence about a movie where his uncle kills his dad so he can be in charge.
But it was the only part of the movie that irritated me.
Yeah. So
I did.
But I agree. It was the original movie with. It was pretty much just the original movie with live action lions.
I liked the effects and everything. I liked the way it looked.
Yeah.
It just was the same thing.
Right, it was.
There was no variation.
And the music and all the songs made more sense when it was animated.
It was more of a nostalgic thing.
Yeah, they were just trying to hit that route. Just like they tried to do with Aladdin, and Aladdin fell flat.
I didn't even watch Aladdin.
It's bad.
Will Smith.
As soon as I heard Will Smith was going to be Genie, I was like, I'm out.
Yeah,
I have no interest.
It was not good.
And plus, the guy who played Aladdin was such a putz when it came to Jasmine. He's like supposed to be this. He has no self-confidence. In the beginning, he's all self-confident.
So it's like
he's
Robert Pattinson's Batman with Zoe Kravitz.
Yes.
Because you know how
like just ask her out, pussy.
Because like in the beginning, you know how
she's already throwing herself at you.
Yeah, right.
Because the beginning was fine because he was self-conscious because he was in his own element. You know what I mean?
Right.
But then he tried to portray it like he didn't know what he was talking about. I'm like, come on, man, you still know how to talk to people.
Right.
You're not an idiot. You're just trying to lie and you're not good at it.
Yeah, I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
I had no interest.
And Will Smith as a genie was,
terrible.
whatever.
As soon as I heard he was a genie,
I'm like, really? It's not Robin Williams. What's the point of this?
I mean, we weren't going to get Robin Williams, but at the same time,
that.
Someone who put more effort.
Yeah,
there was no effort.
I mean, Will Smith, like the genie's goofy. Like the genie is like a goofy character who's high energy.
And plus the problem with
and like kind of everywhere. That's not Will Smith.
Will Smith plays Will Smith in a Will Smith movie.
Right. Like Will Smith is not the high energy, goofy everywhere.
We didn't need to try to be cool genie.
Right.
Fresh Prince of
like a hip hop genie.
Yeah.
Fresh Prince of Agrabah.
So
that's a little bit.
I had no interest when I heard.
I'm gonna bring this up to you.
Is there any good live action ones?
Like
the Disney remake.
I don't know.
Mulan was good. Everyone liked Mulan just because it was just an action movie.
I heard that they were mad because they left what's his name out.
They did, but
so
they're mad because they left out Eddie Murphy.
He's the main character. He's the whole reason.
The dragon,
Yeah, he's the whole reason that the movie gets started.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the guy from Lion King thing?
Yeah.
He's not the main character, but he's the reason for the movie.
She's like her sidekick anyway. So
right.
He's like in all the movie.
Yeah. So, I mean, I agree with that, but everyone's, from what they did do, it was good. Not Cinderella. Is it Cinderella? Beauty and the Beast, that's it.
I didn't see that either.
That one wasn't bad. That one wasn't bad either.
I didn't watch it, but I did hear rumors. Did they make Lumiere really, really gay?
No, Lafitte, the guy who follows Gaston around. Lumiere's the candlestick.
I thought Lumiere was gay in that.
I don't know. Maybe.
We'll the French guy?
The French candlestick.
Yeah, the French candlestick. Because I know they made somebody gay in that movie.
There was Lafitte.
And it was a big deal for a while.
Yeah, it was Lafitte, the guy who was like Gaston's lackey.
So they made
it very overt, like he was into him, and Gaston's just being himself, so he doesn't realize it.
Look, like I said, I didn't watch it.
Yeah. But I wanted to bring this up to you because
technically it's a remake.
Because somebody had a conversation with me, and we were on our way back from a trip. I'm not gonna put out names out there because he said something, and I looked at him after he said it to me. I was like, "Don't you ever say that in front of certain groups of people. You'll get killed." He said to me, I don't know where he goes, the Black Panther movie and the Lion King are exactly the same movie. I said, what? He's like, it's not that big a deal, so I don't know why everyone...
Can you repeat that again?
He said, I don't know why it's such a big deal movie. It's exactly the Lion King. It's the exact same story as the Lion King.
No, it's not.
That's what I said. I said, in what way?
Let me get this straight. When did the Lion King ever set in South Central LA?
Right?
What movie did he even watch?
Yeah, he says he watched it, but he says
he's lying.
Did the king of
this person's kind of some socially out of touch.
Did the king of the lions send a guy to South Central LA
to spy on other people to make sure
to maybe get other lions to join up with him?
I forgot that in the Lion King some aliens came in and the lions had to fight them all. Forgot about that. I totally forgot about that.
I mean, that wasn't in Black Panther,
I forgot that Simba.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's the same premise.
I forgot that Simba took an herb to gain superpowers.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I said, what? He goes, yeah. He goes, instead of,
oh, really?
Directly Scar, it's Scar's son. I was like, that still has nothing to do with it. I was like, Scar.
I think he's just incredibly racist.
I don't think he's racist.
Or he's just such an idiot about Africa. It's set in Africa. It has to be the same.
Yeah, there's lines out in Africa. It's all the same.
Let me guess. Let me guess. What's the one with Michael Caine where he fights the Zulus? So that's the same too.
It's all the same.
I can't even believe we're talking about this.
The reason why I brought it up is because you said about the Lion King, and then it made me laugh inside my head, and I was like, I got it. And you know what? I wish I had face cam right now to see the look on your face when I said that, because you look like so lost, and you're like, how?
Because it's not.
Yeah, that's what I told him. I was like, I told him that. I was like, dude, and what correlation does Scar have with him? I was like, Scar wanted power for the sake of having power.
He was jaded.
I think
he was jaded because his brother got
the succession,
and he didn't.
Yeah, which is wanting power for the sake of power. It's just
it was jealousy.
There was
power hungry.
It wasn't like he was trying to make the kingdom better. He wanted power for himself for the sake of it.
He wanted rule.
So yeah, that's entirely different because because was it Killmonger was right.
Yeah, he was right. He was a villain with a correct motivation.
Right, yeah.
He just wanted to go about it in a
different way.
Yeah.
Right, correct.
Which was,
but that happened because he was alone because his father got killed by the king.
Right.
Yeah.
So
got killed by the king because his dad was giving away secret
technology.
Technology trying to help the African Americans because they were going through a bad spot. So he's like, if we do that, if Wakanda comes out and helps them, we could actually not have this happen. Like, that made way more sense. I was like, what are you there's no correlation.
No.
I was like, no one at the end of Lion King said, oh, maybe Scar's right. Maybe he should have just been king for the sake of it.
That's dumb.
Yeah, no, it was. It just made me laugh. I just wanted to see your faces when I said that.
And I also enjoy the fact that you argue with people who absolutely have no argument. Then you just engage them to see how bad they say things.
I was so shocked he said that.
I'd just be like...
it wasn't even a conversation at that point. I said, this is why you're wrong. And he goes, okay. I was like, so wait. I was like, my first question to him, I was like, who told you this? Because I can't imagine.
I want to know how he came up with a connection in his head. I want to know where the connection.
No, so your assumption is someone.
He was watching Black Panther and thought,
"This is just like Lion King. This is just like Lion King."
Yeah, right.
Who's like, well, there was a king that died, and then the son becomes.
That
king.
happens in so many.
I was like,
movies.
that happens in every movie that there's a king and a son.
My question is, you sound like you seem to think that he got the argument from someone else.
I thought maybe because this. I was hoping that he just kind of...
You were hoping he wasn't that dumb? He's just really gullible?
Yeah, that's what he was hoping. Yeah, it's exactly what he was hoping.
I'll believe it.
Long story short, yes.
Like, here's the thing. The kid is a good kid.
No, he's not.
This has nothing to do with morality, Kyle. There are long past moral questions here.
Yeah, okay, morally he's fine, and...
He's dumb.
Yeah,
he won't believe anything anyone says.
He's very much needs to get in touch with society.
Society?
Which society?
I mean, we're reality. It's a different movie.
No, the question,
like, not even like, I would understand if.
Are you sure he wasn't just saying stuff just to like try to impress you, but failed miserably?
Maybe.
Could be a lot of things going on with that.
Yeah, there's. Because
we can go down this rabbit hole.
Because number one, that was like a tangent, and then it went around in a circle, and then went at a right angle, and then didn't even hit anything.
Right?
It was like an arrow that just went in a circle and then went out.
Nothing came of it. Yeah.
I don't know what that was.
Yeah, I was just flabbergasted, and then when you
brought up, I want to stop talking about this.
Yeah. So that's
unless Greg wants to still think about it.
No, I can see Greg's trying
to figure the connection
like,
out.
You can see Greg's eyes moving like he's in the Minority Report. Like,
my question, the only connection is they're both in Africa and the guy's an idiot.
The only connection,
which is fine.
The only connection is the king and the brother. That's the only connection.
Well, yeah, other than that being in Africa, sure.
And having complete different, like, there's nothing motivational. That's
like, it's not like Simba fought his cousin and beat his cousin at the end of the movie.
Yeah, because
he fought the uncle.
Yeah, he fought his uncle.
It's totally different.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, for Scar or whatever his name is.
Yeah,
Scar,
Scar.
yeah.
is his
He
uncle.
doesn't have any children.
No children.
Not until the second.
Well, in the second movie, he has a kid.
he had like
Wow, I've never seen that. So.
He had like an illegitimate that right when all the other like evil Linus.
Okay, why are you explaining this to me?
Because you need to know, Dan. Just like I said earlier about a game, you need
to know.
You need the backstory so it makes it worth it for you.
This information does not need to be in my brain case.
Anyways, he doesn't fight his cousin. He fights his uncle. He takes revenge on the uncle who kills his dad.
Yeah.
This is totally different.
Yeah. Yes. I just.
Greg, let it go, man. This might be better for you
He's
now.
right, because my eyes are doing this.
Like,
but it's because I'm like picturing the movies.
I know.
I'm, like,
That's why I
trying
said you're like Minority Report. I'm just waiting for you to get your hands go.
And plus, Black Panthers has way more action in it. It's much more simple of a
Yeah,
story.
it is a simple, straightforward story.
Yeah, right.
Because T'Challa's already an adult.
Yeah.
There's no growing up or
Right.
journey or what
I was
have
kind of
you.
half going to ask him, do you think Wakanda's real? And he's
Probably say yes.
Reminds me of my stepdad. He got a DNA test. He got like 20% Nigerian, and he was freaking out because he ate because his excuse was he ate right before he did it. But I'm like,
That's not how that works.
no, probably not. So I was like,
Randy.
Yes. That's what I
So
was
there's an
saying.
episode of South Park in the newer things.
I don't know if it's 20%, but like more than 10.
Yeah. So
You know
there's
what I mean?
there's a South
A
Park
lot.
where Randy goes and gets his DNA test because
Right.
he wants to
He wants to.
be a victim.
He want.
Because everyone's getting on that train like, oh, I'm
Yeah, right.
1/15th black, so you can't say certain things around
So
me.
he
It's
kept
offensive.
saying he was
Indian.
1/10 Native American,
Oh, okay.
and
Was this around the time Elizabeth Warren was trying to say?
yes.
Oh.
So he goes to do a DNA test. He kisses him the first.
Yeah,
time.
he makes out with an Indian guy, right?
Right before he does the DNA test, he makes out with this Indian guy, and he does the test, and it comes back.
And none of the
It comes back as like, he was like, "Oh, I'm Native American, right?" And you're like, "No, you're pretty much a generic white guy. You're
yeah,
like,
it's like
you're like 60% English. You have
it was all the
French in
white
ya."
like French.
They're like, but you have 1% of something that we want to make sure it actually is what it is. So we're gonna need another DNA test. And he was like, "Okay." And he thought he was gonna have to spit in a tube again. And he's like, "Well, actually, for this one, we have to do an anal swab."
So he and the through line of this whole thing is this and he's not even like a young Indian guy. He's like an old Indian guy that's like borderline 60, and this Indian guy falls in love with Randy
After he makes out with him.
Yeah. So the whole
So the whole episode, this guy's like falling around.
it was all over the Christopher Columbus shit too.
Yeah, and he's like telling him to like.
Because he
leave
was
him
trying to get
alone.
people off him because he was celebrating Christopher Columbus Day.
Yeah.
Because Randy's over the top with everything.
Right.
So he's like, oh, I'm part Indian, so I can celebrate Columbus Day.
But anyways, at the end, he gets the guy to
So he gets ready to go do this thing. So he keeps toying with this poor Indian guy. This Indian guy's like in love with him. He's like staying outside his house with drums. Like, but Randy, I love you. This is my mother. He's bringing her to the house.
I forgot about that part.
And so now we're gonna get back onto the part of the main show of. We'll go over the bad one and then we'll get to the decent one.
Did you watch the first one? The
I've
first
seen
one.
it.
Yeah. So we watched The Exorcise. The
Exorcise?
The Exorcise. The Exorcist.
The Exorcise
Deceiver.
in
Right. That's
Exorcist Believer. Yes.
Believer.
The
Sorry,
new
not
one.
Deceiver.
Deceiver's
the next
Deceiver's the next one that I
Yeah.
that I swear
Are
to
you
God
sure you
that
don't
they
mean
don't
believer?
one. Believer.
I
It's just it's little girls possessed by Justin Bieber.
I pray they don't make the second one.
They're going to. We talked about this. That studio spent $400 million to get the rights to all that.
400 million.
Are you sure? How? Was it from another studio?
Yeah, they bought the rights to The Exorcist.
What is this?
Blumhouse bought all of it, and now
And they destroyed it
Yeah, well.
in one swift swoop.
The only headline I saw was it was disrespectful, is what they called it.
Here's a review.
as he's looking up. So, it was bad. It was bad. They had
Horrible.
no idea where they were going with it.
Garbage.
They were all over the place. There was very few things that were good about the movie.
There's a review for you. That pretty much tells you the whole
The
thing.
Exorcist believer can go straight to hell. This inexcusable requel to the classic horror film may shake your faith in the power of franchise reboots. Well, that headline's enough for me.
Yeah, it's horrible. So, I don't even know.
Like, it's just bad. Let's just be honest. It's bad.
It's worse than the other sequel things.
Yeah.
Yes.
With Stellan Skarsgård. He was one.
It's horrible.
So you remember the one with him?
Yep.
Bill Skarsgård's father is in one.
Yep.
So, well, let's do a breakdown comparison. They both start off slow.
Yes.
They both start off slow. The difference between the original one and the new one is, even though it starts off slow, the old one, it still feeds you creepy moments,
Right.
until you reach
Yeah.
the full
You
possession.
felt something was
My
coming.
thing with the first one that kills me is that all the psychiatrist people are like, "Oh, it's just muscle spasms."
Yeah,
I'm like, that kills me.
We
She
were
literally came off the bed.
We were laughing about that yesterday.
Because like the part,
Yeah.
the first, because they kept saying
well, like
it.
when the first time they see her, she's like not bouncing off the bed. Her top half is coming up like she's sitting, and then she's slamming back down.
Yeah. And then he just goes for the needle.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
after he gets slapped down, but
Right.
And then bit and everything else.
he
So
gets slapped all the way across the room by a little girl, and like, there's nothing wrong with
Right,
this.
yeah.
It's just muscle.
Well, I like
strength from
how-
being special.
I like how the mom just doesn't say anything. She's like, the bed's shaking, and he's like, oh, that's her muscle spasm. And instead of her going, and then she goes, well, no, I was on the bed, and the bed
whole
was shaking.
The
And he
whole bed
like,
was moving.
The doctor was just like, oh, yeah, you don't know what you're talking about. It was the best part of the part. I was like, what? So in the original, it feeds you like the creepy.
Yeah.
It feeds you the creepy moments.
You knew it was coming.
Yeah, right. But this doesn't feed you crap.
He just does like a exposition dump.
Yeah.
Not even. It just goes real hard.
It's,
So all of a sudden, out of nowhere.
so it tells this really long, drawn out, boring story.
Well, first of all, it's not even that long and drawn out because in the concept of the movies, that movie's only an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah, it feels like a full 2 hours.
Every second.
Every second sucks. So it starts off.
Did
okay.
you ask for a refund?
I wish I could have. So it starts off okay. It tells like this guy's over there in Africa,
Yes.
and
No, Haiti. It was Haiti.
Oh, they're in Haiti. You're right. They're in Haiti.
Oh wow, a subliminal voodoo.
So
Yeah.
it's pretty much what happens. Pretty much what happens.
I didn't even watch it.
So
That's bad.
You can see the future.
So the main character, the main guy, the black guy, his wife's walking around town, to like the shops and stuff, and like she gets this blessing from these voodoo priests,
The Haitian women.
and there's an earthquake. She dies. Well, she doesn't die right away. He finds her body. They're in the hospital. A doctor tells him, we can only save one, your wife or your daughter. We can't save them both.
Yeah, because she was like 8.5 months pregnant. So
then it flash forwards 13 years. Now, 13 years. I'm going to say it again, 13 years. Because this was something that Cheetah and I found very odd. That the daughter knows nothing about her mother. So she's like going through the mom stuff. She's like looking at, like...
So the father says nothing. He doesn't tell her nothing.
Apparently not. I don't know.
like
It never explains that. It never
Yeah.
explains it. So she's like looking through her mother's stuff, and she like steals it's a scarf, correct?
Yep, one of her scars.
She steals a scarf.
He freaks out.
He wigs out about her stealing a scarf. that for 13 freaking years he's had in a drawer. And it's really retarded. So...
Got to have to cut that one out. That's, out of half the stuff we talked about, that's actually more of the stuff that needs to be edited out.
It's not meant as in like a...
I know, but
way.
it's one of the YouTube no-no words.
Oh my gosh.
What's the no word?
You know it is.
What word?
Retarded.
You could have said it louder.
But I'll just a little louder.
So anyways, she goes to school. The white girl at school, they're friends. They come up with this concoction where, you know, typical school kid crap. You tell your dad that you're coming to my house. I'll tell my dad that I'm going to your house. You know, and we'll go do whatever we want to do.
Yeah.
So they find this little abandoned sewer. Is it a sewer, a drainage, whatever? What is it?
It looks like to be like a basement of an old building.
So they go in this basement. They do this little
Seance
to try to talk to her mother.
Okay.
And they don't show anything, right? So then it cuts to him, the dad. It's like nighttime. And she was supposed to be home by dinner, and he's like, "Well, where's she at?" Calls their parents. They don't know where they're at. Blah blah blah, all that crap. She shows up. They find him in some barn 30 miles away.
3 days later.
3 days later.
So I'm gonna put a quick stop in that. That sequence right there is probably the closest thing to actually being scary. The whole sequence of your kid being missing. I'm saying out of everything being scary.
For him.
Yeah, but I'm saying like anything that would induce fear, that would be the only thing in that whole movie that, as a personal thing, would induce fear in me, is if my daughter went missing.
Well, that's for you.
Yeah, right. I mean, not most people. Most people aren't.
Well, another thing, it seems like
that
there's a lot of scene changes where they're going to different
but
locations.
That's not supposed to be a scary part. So for that,
but I'm saying that is.
Scary
but I'm saying for me who watched it, that is the closest thing to being scary in that whole movie.
It sounds
like as a personal like. Nothing that actually happened in Supernatural wasn't scary. It was all dumb and not great.
Unlike the original Exorcist, where there's obviously something weird going on, that's the tension of it.
Correct.
This one is just regular father-daughter not talking to each other thing, and then all of a sudden she cares about her mother, and then there's a seance. Like it's just a normal horror movie.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like one of those generic rehash.
But it doesn't even reach that.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yes, you're
talking
correct.
about the plot.
You're right. You're correct.
I'm not talking about the scary parts.
Yeah, you're right.
Then we meet the girl's parents, and here's the thing.
So the director's a hack?
Oh, did you catch... I didn't ask you this. Did you catch the mother's accent?
The weird...
it flipped on and off?
Yeah, the flipped on and off between like Southern Belle to normal, just regular woman.
It was very weird.
She couldn't hold an accent. She kept switching back and forth. But here's what cracks me up.
So when you first meet the white girl's mom, normal. Speaks normal as hell.
Yeah, they're down. They're not here. Then the next scene when they get to them at the hospital, it's just Lord Jesus Christ, you're jumping down.
And the baby girl go. Like, I was like, where did that come from?
What are you, Tammy Faye Baker?
Yeah.
I'm like,
and here's the thing. The dad, his whole character arc would have been completed if he just would have used the N-word one time.
He really would.
Because the way he acted, the way they were like, and this
when
the
he
thing
talked to the black.
Yeah.
Like,
so
and this is
thought they were all uppity or whatever.
Yeah. So when they're in the police station at first, because they're all together trying to find out where their kids are, the black guy's like,
we need to find our kids.
We need to find our kids. You know. This and that.
And then the white dad's like, my daughter's more important than yours. Like
the white dad said something about the religion thing and
he's like, she's a friend of the pastor at church or whatever or something.
And the black dad was like, well, we don't do that. Like, we don't do that. So where's if they were doing something like that, then my daughter shouldn't have been there because that's not and bull crap.
That we're good Christians, so I don't know why she'd go missing kind of stuff. And here's what kills me.
So it's like a kind of like a vague homage to like my daughter won't be associating with your kind.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Except it's religious, explicitly religious instead of racial, but obviously it's
racial.
Right, yeah.
And here's what kills me. And this is a consistent thing throughout the movie. Is it seems like this director had no idea where he wanted to go.
No. Oh, no. It jumped
Because he
all over the
kept
place.
jumping back and forth of trying to go like more hardcore, and then he'd be like, oh, well, I don't want to say a message, so I'm going to go the opposite way. Because, like I said, if the dad would have used the N-word one time, his character arc would have made so much more sense and been way more significant. Like, everything he would have done would have been way more significant. Other than just, he wanted to save his daughter. He loves his daughter.
I've been reading that Rolling Stone article you mentioned, and I figured out why the movie doesn't know what it wants, because there's like 5 writers on it. Including Danny McBride of all people.
The one, listen,
which if it's the Danny McBride I'm thinking of, that'd be weird.
We had this chat
Uh-huh.
before it came out, and I remembered it as soon as the movie was over. The director was the guy who directed the new Halloween movies, and I remember looking at Kyle when I heard it, and I said, if he screws up, if he does to The Exorcist what he did to Halloween, it's gonna be fucked. And as soon as I left that movie, I went, I was right. He fucked it. He fucked it.
So,
well, the article mentions that, where he goes, it was good, strong start in Halloween, and then
the first one was
worse.
good,
and then it got worse.
Right.
And then he goes, this guy started at the worst one first, and there might not be any more.
Yeah, right. It's horrible.
Basically, I'm summarizing.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
So, but yeah, there was like so much, like we talked about the church scene, where the character did something really quick, and it was like a weird flash in the pan, 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Which had no relevance to anything, and then they moved on to another thing, where in the trailer, they made it seem like she was covered in blood, screaming body in the blood in the middle of the church. But then it quickly went to, she spilled grape juice all over herself. She's pouring grape juice and stuff all over herself. I was like, that's stupid. That's stupid.
Dumb.
It's not creepy. It's just a kid being a butthole at that point. Well, I don't know why I said butthole. Asshole. We're past that.
So anyways, so we're gonna jump to the original.
And apparently, well, let me see one more thing.
Go ahead.
Apparently, I just read the article again. That part. Apparently, it wasn't Catholic at the end. It was some weird multi-religious.
We're gonna get
There's no God. It's just
we're gonna get there.
It's just our diversity will make us strong.
Yeah, we're gonna get there.
We'll get there.
Okay.
Because it's the Avengers of the religioners.
Let's jump back to the original. So in the original, you see the creepy stuff because she keeps her daughter at home. She's trying to care for her. She's obviously trying to figure out what's wrong with her.
Yeah.
Totally skipped that on this one. They put him in the mental ward, so you don't see fucking nothing.
Not that much.
You don't see shit. Nothing.
So they go from normal to whatever.
Yeah, and then they're in the mental ward, and then the white family takes their daughter out of the mental ward, take her home, and you don't see nothing with that family for a while. And so then the black guy, he goes and finds Reagan's mom.
Uh-huh.
And that's a travesty.
Because he reads her book. He finds out his neighbor's the nurse.
Yeah.
And she's trying to talk to him about religion. He's like, well, you know what religion got me? My wife was killed, da-da-da-da. I mean, all that whack crap. So he reads Reagan's mom's book about her daughter. So he goes and finds her. Now, it's a little nostalgic to see her. Like, it's a cool moment. And then she has her lines, and it ruins everything.
They're so
long. They're so long and drawn out.
And they're flat. Like, there's no emotional anything.
She has, like, monologues.
So it's like... This is a problem with a lot of modern movies, where they don't understand it's a visual medium. Like, you don't need a lot of dialogue.
No.
Just have facial expressions and talk and have a conversation.
Have a few sentences each.
Right.
But, like, hers are, like... It's not like she asked a question, and then he answered, and then he asked a question.
Yeah.
She went on a rant. It's a whole long rant. I was like, what is this?
Yeah, you can't blame the actor for that, though. That's just bad.
No, and I get that, but that's what I mean. He ruined the movie.
And I think that's why she delivered her line so flat, because she's like, this is awful. I think she just wanted nothing to do with this, but she's going to get her paycheck.
So then here's where it starts getting bad. You think it can't get worse, and it kind of does. So he convinces her to come with him to see the kids. So she goes to the mental hospital to see his daughter, who they show her scratching the name Reagan into the
wood, where nobody else can see it.
No one can see the word Reagan, only she can see it.
Mm-hmm.
And she hides under the bed, and then she walks up to the window. And if you've seen any of the previews, you know what I'm talking about. She goes, "Oh, she knows who I am." And so then she jumps up and slams her hand to the window. So then they go to find the white girl.
And the sad part is, it was a beautifully shot scene. It was like if they had a competent director, I think that would have been a really good scene of like, they tried to do their own thing and they thought that their power of faith was good enough and they found out they were very wrong.
Yeah, but you need to show it.
Yeah, you need to
show it.
Like throughout the movie, just show them start to go through some problems.
Right, correct.
Not all of it. Just go through like they start doing stuff.
Right.
Or if they try to do something like pray with her and then it goes really awry and then it blacks out and then you go, I wonder what happened. And they could have left it like, wonder what happened to them, and they go back to it and the house is just destroyed.
Right.
That would have been great, but no, there's nothing involving them, so you have no idea.
So then you get to their house and they go in and the door's wide open, lights are off. They find the dad. They find the dad
in a tub
and
crying and saying it's his fault.
And then like you find the mom and two other kids in the kitchen sitting in a little circle around like broken lights and candles, and it's really weird. And so Reagan's mom finds the girl in her room, and this really irritated me. Reagan's mom walked in like she was the Catholic priest.
Like she was going to perform an exorcism.
Like she was going to perform the exorcism and goes, "Leave this child, demon." And
that doesn't make any sense.
Exactly.
Because in the first movie, she didn't know nothing.
Exactly.
She was useless.
It gets even better because before that scene, it gets even better. During her monologue, she goes, I still don't know if I'm a believer of God, but I believe that these spirits exist and all that. And she goes, she goes, I'm not ordained to perform an exorcism. I know not enough to be able to perform an exorcism. But then she tries to perform an exorcism anyways.
It's so dumb. And she like puts her hand and she goes like this. She goes, "Believe this child."
Yep.
I can't take this.
So then
the girl acts like she's cowering or whatever.
But that's not what happened in the first Exorcist either.
No.
They're like, fuck me and
a
bunch of crazy shit.
Yeah, bunch of crazy shit happened.
Right. No crazy shit happens in this one.
Well, the craziest thing is, what if her crucifix fall off the wall?
This is what I was getting to. It's the only part of the movie I like. So when the girl goes to the floor and like she like crawls to the wall in the corner, a crucifix falls off the wall right next to her. Uh-huh. And Reagan's mom, what is her real name? What is her
Ellen
name?
Burstyn.
She walks.
I think.
So she's like walking towards her like she just exorcised the demon. And the girl pops up and grabs her, like jumps on her chest with like her feet on her chest and her hand on her shirt, like holding her like that. And she takes the crucifix and jabs out her eyeballs.
Stabs out her eyeballs, yep.
It's like the only part of the movie I like.
Well, because you hate the rest of it so much, you want some catharsis?
Yes.
Well, I kind of wish the crucifix was going through my eyeballs, so I guess it was just like...
Catharsis, yeah. Exactly. By proxy.
Yeah, by proxy.
So, we're going to have to... Because this is just... There's a lot. So, then they got their local Catholic...
Let's just speed it up.
Yeah. So, they got their local Catholic...
Let's get to the end.
Yeah.
Let's get to the end.
So, they got their local Catholic priest to try to get an exorcism sanctioned. He comes back,
but they don't show none of it. They just.
Well, no, he goes to the fathers. He goes to.
But that's all they show. They just show him sitting there in the room with them talking to him, and they're like, "No, you're denied." And they're like, "No, you're denied."
It sounds like the primary problem is that they don't show everything.
They show hardly anything.
They jump around way too much.
Like the original one was, they showed the whole process.
Exactly, that's what I mean. They tell a story, and during the story, they show.
I'm trying.
They started out to try to tell a story, and then they're like, "Smash cut, let's go."
Yeah,
because they don't talk about what the girls were doing in the psychiatrical ward, what happened.
So pretty much, they're
you
like,
don't see any creepy stuff.
While they're waiting to hear back if they're going to have this exorcism or not, the parents go and go do this house up, the black guy's house, to make it ready for an exorcism. So they clear out the house and they screw all the chairs to the floor so they can't be thrown. And they hired this voodoo chick to draw circles.
Why'd you have to do it in his house?
No idea.
Don't ask us questions.
They're supposedly possessed in a basement.
So this is where we get to your question about the 3 different religion things.
Okay.
They get this voodoo chick to come, and she
wasn't even part of the process.
No, she just comes out of nowhere.
Okay.
So she was there. She was in his house after she was lost. They were in her house.
Blessing.
His neighbor brought them over to bless the house, and he told them to get the hell out of the house. So
that's relevant.
She draws. Yeah, right. She draws a circle, and I kind of liked what they were trying to say, how like each religion has their different way of an exorcism. They have their own way of casting demons out. Like I kind of get where they were going, but they fucked it up. So she draws this circle on the floor, kind of like a pentagram looking thing, and she's like, "Well, this is life, and this is where you lead," and she's like drawing all these things in the circle, and she's like, "And this is where we need them to be, and this is represents them, this, and that." So then they jump to the Catholic priest, who you don't see nothing of until now. And he gets denied. He can't do the exorcism,
and he won't do it because he doesn't want to get in trouble with the church.
So this nurse, his neighbor, who you find out at one point was going to be a nun. Mm-hmm. The day before she became a nun, she broke her vows, had sex with a guy, and got pregnant. Got a abortion. So you find that out earlier in the movie, because when the girls first get possessed, that one kind of says something to her about it, and she like breaks down about it.
Ugh.
So the Catholic priest says, "I can't do it,
but you can.
But you can, because you know everything. You obviously were going to be a nun. You know the Bible." So he hands her his Bible, and she acts like
she's Captain America.
Yeah,
she's Captain America. Because look, everyone's just like, "Oh, the Catholic priest, the church isn't going to help us. I think this is over. Our girls are going to die. They're all giving up." She walks in with the Bible. She goes, "No, we're not giving up on these girls." She goes, "I gave up my vows to be a nun to be here this day. I had an abortion."
God has me exactly where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, I had an abortion to be able to be here and help these girls with the power of God.
Absolutely the opposite of what.
Yeah. So we're just gonna run to the ending because it sucks. So this is, I'm not joking when I say this. She starts to perform an exorcism, and it's like a minute or two in, the one girl brings up the daughter again, like her breaking her vows and having an abortion, and she like breaks down and cries. That's it. She's done.
She's done. She gets herself back together.
Not even like she's done. She can't perform it no more.
No, she gets herself back together after a couple minutes. But then what? Everyone else
nothing like the Christ of Faith in the first one, where
nothing.
They give him visions of his dead mother.
No, it gets even better because these people are so fragile because they bring they bring the family of the little girl, of the white girl with her whole family and their local pastor, the voodoo chick, the neighbor who's just some schlub who's like, "I want to be helpful."
Yeah.
So
guy. Yeah, I forgot about him.
He just wanted to be helpful. But you know what?
Just some weirdo neighbor.
But here's the thing. He made more sense than most of them because he was just out of there for the goodness of his own heart, and so was the voodoo chick. And here's the thing. I almost lost it because, Greg, you know I have my nice big book of the history and all the practices of voodoo and how it all works.
Yeah.
Yeah. Guess what? Whoever taught this chick voodoo... This was like the...
Oh, so you're right. You're right. The nun, or the nurse, recovers and starts to try, like, read from the Bible and stuff. And this is one of the weirdest
And it's
parts.
just a bunch of random people screaming at kids.
This is one of the weirdest parts in the movie. He's talking about the voodoo thing. So the girls start, like, spasming, and they, like, tilt their heads back, and this gold dust comes out of their mouth, right? And it, like, lingers above their heads. And... everyone's like, "What the hell?" Everyone in the theater was like, "The hell is that?" Like, what the fuck is this? And the voodoo lady's like, it's the girls trying to expel the demon.
Yeah, it's partial. It's some of the deep. It's some of the evil. It's some of the evil in them.
So she takes a swig of something. She makes a fire next to him in the fireplace. Takes a swig of something, spits in the fire. The smoke from the fire comes out and has a fight with the gold dust.
Absorbs it,
and then goes into a water pail. And then it was funny because this is my buddy. He's like, and then they just like it's halftime. Everyone takes a break.
Yeah, they all just take a break.
The white dad's out there smoking a cigarette on the porch.
There's no intense suffering or endurance tests or continuing on past your
mandatory break time, mandatory work time break.
So the black dad goes out and dumps the pail.
Now wait. Here's the other part I found, because she said make sure you pour it out to the east. And that dad just walked out and dumped it in the sewer.
Yeah, he just walked outside and just went.
Now, there's no confirmation he even poured it east. And that's what when you're performing exorcism with your daughter and the voodoo lady says, make sure you do this, you figured he wouldn't just go, you know, I don't understand. Even if he had like a compass and like, all right.
Look, the voodoo thing would make more sense if it was like they knew who the demon was, and if it was like more effective that way or something.
So after halftime,
they go back at
after our smoke break.
Yeah, they go back in.
The white girl's dad all of a sudden finds his faith and starts helping.
The girls start talking crap to the. I mean, it's not like horrible crap. They just start.
So it's not like the original one was awesome.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So
where the devil's hitting people out in their fields.
Yeah, right.
Right.
The only time they do it was the black girl told the dad
at the very end.
Where
they gave him his twist.
Yeah.
Which was good, but it was predictable.
So they pretty much like demoralize people with the softest roasting in the world. And they're like, who's gonna save us? Here's my favorite part. Not because it's a good part. It's just because it's so funny.
Oh wait, before we get to that part, as the black dad was dumping out the magic water, supposedly to the east, he sees that the Catholic priest never left the house. Never left.
He's sitting in his car for hours,
praying for them to succeed. And
he taps on the window and says, "Fight's inside."
Yeah, he goes, "Hey, I don't know why you're doing this out here. The fight's inside," and then walks away.
And consider that like doubles down the stupidity with the halftime thing.
Right.
I'm like, why'd you leave then?
So, fast forward, the lightest roasting in the world that
everyone's demoralized.
Defeats everybody. They're like, who's gonna save us? What are we gonna do? I'm not shitting you. The door kicks in, and this Catholic priest walks in like he's the savior. Right?
And he starts praying.
He's dead in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
2 minutes.
He walks up to the girl.
He walks over. He has the Bible. He like throws some water on him. And
then he takes his rosary in one hand, a crucifix on the other, and starts praying on
his hands on their heads. Uh-huh. And he starts praying. And the girls like do this and look at him, and then they start twisting their necks, and his neck snaps, and he falls to the ground and dies.
What?
I'm not shitting you.
And there's no demonstration of their psychic ability before that?
No. None.
And here's what's even better. The priest is clearly Indian. Like
Hindu?
No. Like, he is
American.
Not. I took him as Mexican.
Either way.
What was his name? Do you remember?
I don't know. But either way, he's clearly some type of brown guy. But
what's that guy's name?
He had a super Italian accent, like the Roman Catholic, like
maybe he's Italian.
It was real. No, he's no.
There are plenty of dark Italians.
Yeah, no. Take a look at this
South,
dude.
Southern Italians. Yeah.
Take a look at this dude.
Anyways,
I'll look it up.
I'm just trying to run through this, and you keep stopping me.
Yeah, shut up, Kyle. Gosh.
So after that, the girls tell them, "You choose one of us to live.
The other will die.
The other will die. You choose." And they're like, "We won't choose. Blah 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 blah. We won't choose." So finally the white dad breaks down crying and bawling after some late roasting again.
That's what it is. It's like it's like one of those things where
no one has any willpower anymore.
No, it's like It's like if a little kid told you to shut up and then you start breaking.
It's the thing in the world.
Yeah,
if Reagan was in this movie, they'd all be dead.
They would have died of a broken heart.
Yeah. So the white dad starts screaming, "I choose you." I can't even remember her name. He's like, "I choose you." When he says her name, and he says it like 6 times. So this is the part that really pisses me off and gets me laughing about it. Is nobody beats the demon. No one wins. The demon tells him, choose a girl, she'll live, the other one dies. So the white dad screams out that he chooses his daughter. Well, obviously the demon played a trick on him. Kills the white girl, lets the black girl live. That's the end of the movie. That's it.
Well, there was like some stupid little exposition shit that had nothing to do with anything.
Done. No exorcism was performed. No demon was cast out. No one.
And then there was an extra gruesome scene to watch the white little girl's soul get taken to.
Oh, and that
by
wasn't
demons.
Even gruesome.
I'm saying, but for the rest of that was one of the more gruesome scenes of the movie.
I agree.
It was.
That's him, right?
Yes.
Yeah. He could pass for Italian.
I went with Mexican.
That works too. Puerto Rican is what he is.
Okay.
Whatever.
So
Kyle just racist because he's Italian.
So that's how the movie ends. The demon just keeps his. What was Reagan? The demon keeps his word. Kills one and leaves one alive.
What kind of ending is that?
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing, because I read a little synopsis on what everyone they were trying to go for. Is what they were trying to go for is now the white dad has to live with he chose to kill somebody and he didn't get his way, so he has to suffer.
I understand that. That was that whole dumb long ass monologue the nurse read in the end.
Which one died anyway?
The white girl.
Because the white dad asked for her to be saved, and the demon pulled a catch-22.
Pulled the switcheroo.
And then the other part of it was supposed to be now the black dad has to suffer as well, because now his daughter knows that he didn't want her compared to his mom. That's what they were going for. But it was not told right.
It was dumb.
It was not told right at all. And here's the other thing. And that's why I said the white dad's character arc would have been complete if he used the N-word one time, because it would have made so much more sense.
Dumb. It was so dumb. There's no exorcism. No exorcism happens.
No. Bunch of people screaming at some kids.
No.
And taking extended smoke breaks.
Nothing creepy happens. I'm sorry, the only thing creepy that happens is the girls' faces change. That's it.
They keep trying to emphasize their relationships a little bit too much.
Yeah.
It's all about your emotional attachment to your children, or
right.
trying to help people or whatever, and it's not about the actual events that are supposed to be happening. So they got rid of all that by not having any of this psychiatric hospital stuff or anything else.
But you need the psychological,
because half the stuff in the Exorcist movie was her going to a doctor or
right. Yeah, correct. But
and
it told the story. It's a long burn in the beginning, the original one.
Yeah.
But it tells a story, and it still spoon feeds you creepy moments, like when she's walking backwards like a spider down the stairs and spits the blood out. Like, it's a creepy moment.
Mm-hmm. And even before we even got to that part where she was clearly possessed, it was the creepy noises in the house.
Yeah, right.
Or
there was weird things.
The
happening.
overlooming of showing the church and the dark side.
Or her
of things.
coming into her mom's and laying in her mom's bed because she said her bed's shaking.
Yeah,
she can't sleep.
It was leading up to something.
Yeah, right.
It was creating the tension.
Correct.
There was no tension in this.
Right, and then it's not even the part where the girl spins her head all the way around, looks at her mom, and says, "Do you know what your daughter's done?" It's creepy.
Yeah.
You don't get none of that in this new one.
No. It was bad. So, it was a bad movie.
In the first one, it shows all the different kinds of supernatural things that she's doing that she shouldn't be able to do. Why in the first one, it explains to you, the priest explains to you she has to speak a language that she's never spoken before. She has to show signs of power that are inhuman. And he's going through a list this is what we need to prove. In this movie, they're just you're denied. See you later. Bye bye.
Right.
They don't go through no story.
Yeah, the most the priest gave up for an argument is these girls might die.
Right. Right.
We're like, okay, done. No.
It seems like it's just a reason to like disregard Catholic stuff entirely, just for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Because they really wanted a voodoo, and they really wanted a non-denominational pastor.
They didn't even actually do voodoo. They just kind of had some black girl draw some chalk circles that were not relevant.
And spit in the fire.
Because, like I said, I have my stupid little voodoo book, and guess what? Majority of Haitian voodoo is based off Christianity, and all their stuff is very heavily tied to Christianity.
Well, plus there's a bunch of other other things from voodoo you could have put in there, like, I don't know, tobacco or some other thing.
The offerings to Loa to help with all that, you know.
You have to appease the spirits to help you fight another spirit.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
But they didn't do that.
None of it. Nothing. It was like what you said, Dan. It was a generic horror movie.
Yeah.
It was it. There was no exorcism.
Now
there was almost nothing. The only thing to do with the church was when they were in church for that one scene. That's the only thing to do with church.
And nothing even super creepy happened, except for she poured grape juice all over herself. Instead of, something crazy like maybe blood, so it's a little more unsettling.
Yeah.
Nope, grape juice.
Well,
so it was a bad time. So
now I'm thinking of
and here's
the Pope's Exorcist and the Super Friends at the end.
Listen, the Pope's Exorcist is 1,000 times better. 1,000 times better than this movie. And I
even if the kid who was possessed wasn't nearly as creepy as in the original Exorcist.
I agree. He wasn't.
But to be fair, that kid was just creepy looking in general.
He was a little bit. But
I just don't like the look of that kid.
No, that kid. No, I'm talking about the actor himself. That kid had that weird bug eyes, and then they possessed him, and
it's 1,000 times better than this movie. 1,000 times. And he does a better job. He does a better job of acting creepy. He does a better job
of acting like he's possessed.
Yeah, right. Like it's just very.
Yeah, well.
So, movie's trash. All right, next review. And this one's gonna be short and sweet. First Exorcist, still good.
It's one of the best horror movies ever made.
Still good. There's nothing we can't sit there and review something we all know still good.
Yeah, it's one of the best horror movies ever made.
We kept comparing.
I'm 35 and it still creeps me out sometimes. Mm-hmm. And I've watched it since I was like 9.
Yeah, still good.
Like there's just certain parts that creep me out still. Like when her head spins and she looks at her mom and says,
Now, a couple things. Like
my favorite part is when the psychiatrist or whatever his name gets slapped across the room. That's she's like, fuck me, and then good backs hit him across the room.
No, that's the mom. That's the mom when that happens.
No, she hit him.
She hits him first. Correct. Yeah. But that's when she's bouncing.
Yeah.
And
that was the regular doctor. The psychiatrist is the one
confusing.
The psychiatrist is where she grabs him by the balls and about kills him.
I confuse him. There's so many violent parts.
That's when he stabs her with the needle and she calls him a fucking bastard and then punches him and launches him across the. What you're talking about?
No. What happened was she rose. I'm confusing the fuck. She said that he comes at her. He slaps her across the room. Then she goes back to the bed and he tries to kick the needle out right away.
Yeah.
So
because there's two different fuck me parts. Because there's
there's two
where she talks to the doctor like fuck me, and then there's that one. And there's the one later where she's like let Jesus fuck you and stabs herself.
Yeah.
And then that's when her mom comes in and tries to stop her and she says lick me, and then grabs her mom's head. Then she picks her mom up and cracks her across
launches
her across the room.
Then throws the chair across the door.
Chair and the dresser at her. Yeah. That's when she spins her head.
Yeah.
Because her mom crawls out. Her mom crawls out from behind the dresser and tries to get out, and she spins her head and looks at her and goes,
"Do you know what your daughter did?"
Yeah. It's creepy. It's a creepy movie.
Well, it's way more disturbing than that the Believer one, as far as I can tell. I've never seen it, but
you don't need to see it.
Yeah,
they're not gonna let some 13-year-old actress say that shit anymore.
No, that's the problem.
But that's the issue. You can't go into an Exorcist and say you're redoing The Exorcist and not have something. I'm not saying you have to go over the boundary because that went over the boundaries, but you have to push them.
Well, The Exorcist.
You have to at least meet expectations,
right?
Because The Exorcist was actually talking about serious things to a certain extent.
Right.
Yeah.
Because when I read reviews of it, and the analysis of it was part of the thing The Exorcist was about was people's discomfort with female puberty.
Right.
Like all the sex and stuff that they think about.
Right.
You're not supposed to talk about it, especially not back then.
No, especially not back then. 73 was when.
Because back then, people went in the theater, got packed. Then they were like, one guy said his dad went, and it was his dad and another guy were left at the end of it. Everyone else left.
Yep.
Because religion was way more important back then.
Right.
So people were like, "What?
I
the
do feel like
fuck is this?"
I do feel like in society that church has become less and less prominent.
Yes.
But still, saying that stuff in a R-rated movie,
right?
That's just in general.
I mean, I believe. I mean, I've always been straightforward. I believe. I go. I don't go to church anymore, but I still pray. I still talk to God. I still.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's part of society, as
I'm just talking about
technology
the language itself.
Yeah.
Correct, and it makes a lot of people uncomfortable, like what you said.
Right.
Like, and so I think that's a major.
Because they didn't try to make anyone.
Right. They didn't try to.
Right.
That's the point of it, though. You're trying to push the boundary, and they didn't try.
That's the tension in the movie.
Right.
How she escalates her behavior.
Correct. Like, you're not supposed to behave that way. That's what.
Right.
And it's supposed to be unsettling. It's supposed to be unsettling.
It's supposed to unsettle you.
They were trying to go for, look at the creepy visual. Look at her face is messed up. That's creepy, right?
But that's the only thing that they tried to go for creepy-wise is that visual.
Yeah. So
like, she sees the demon one time when she first comes back, and that's it. You don't see it again.
When you said, when she twists her head around, she said, well, "Look what your daughter did."
Look what do you know what your cunting daughter's done?
So basically, the implication was her daughter's into stuff.
Yeah, that there were
know
secrets.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the main priest comes in the end. He tells you, he's like, they mix the truth with the lies. He tries to lie to you. Don't listen to him.
Yeah. He mixes truth in, so it makes you, because some of the stuff he is saying is true, but you don't know what is true. And that's also what makes it scary, because now you really don't know.
Yeah, because now it's a mental game. Like, what's true, what's not true. Like, like when she uses his mom's voice, starts calling him Demi,
saying she's in hell.
Right. Like, it's a
and then guilt tripping about what he did to her.
Right. It's a mental game that beat him.
Yep.
Although the projectile vomit scene always kind of bothers me because he almost wipes it in his own eyes.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he does.
He's like this, and like, why are you pushing it in, dude? You're like putting it almost right in your eye, tear ducts. What are you doing?
But like, even what's weird? Even for 1973, her visual of her face changing and everything was so much better than what that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just contact lens and a forehead extension.
Right. Like, the visual of the 73 is even then it's better than
even the neck thing.
Yeah, it's
when it got.
You want to know why? Practical effects.
Yeah, I forgot about that part where it bulges out. Yeah.
Practical effects versus digital effects.
And plus, a child endangerment possibly.
And then her eyes.
I'm serious.
When her eyes turned white and everything, when she did that, I forgot about that throat part. Her eyes turned white and crap.
Well, plus children were allowed to do a lot crazier stuff on set back then.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the
safety wise,
jumping up and down. And
safety wise, right.
Yeah. So
I don't know. I just can't.
It's better. I'm not saying that.
They just have to push boundaries. I can't believe.
They're too. Everyone's too scared. So the problem is,
it's partially the political climate because in the early 70s they were questioning everything.
Right.
So it was about questioning religion and all that sort
of
stuff.
But here's the thing.
So
what we have run into now is either movies trying too hard to make a statement or they're too scared to make a statement.
So
or maybe this one he was trying to make a statement but he sucked at it.
That is also probably a.
His probably was like, oh, we're all in this together if you have faith, except
but there was no faith.
But also the moral of the story is no one has faith, and if you have an exorcist, some kid's gonna die.
Yeah, right.
And you know what's even funnier? All these brittle people. That's what happens when you don't have a safe space. Take away the safe space.
I don't know.
Someone slightly insults you.
I was so glad that we watched the original one last night.
Just to take away some of the bitter.
Just to get the taste out of my mouth of the new one.
I'm sorry, Greg, that you had to go through that.
Well, it sucks. Because The Exorcist for me. So, you love your comics. You guys love your comics. Horror movies. That's my my thing. That's like, comics is your thing. I love horror movies. Like, that's my thing. Like,
yeah.
So I was super excited to see what direction they would go with The Exorcist, and I mean,
I just think
horrible.
it sounds like it's not very grounded in reality very much, for one thing.
It's not grounded in reality.
Oh, to answer your question, yes, Reagan does show up, but not until the end. At the very end, you see someone walking. It's like from the person's view, walking into the hospital room of her mother, whose eyeballs were poked out, and she doesn't know who's in the room with her, obviously, because she can't see. And she says the black guy's name. She goes, "Is that you?" And you learn earlier that after she wrote her book about her experience, her daughter quit talking to her because she didn't want no one knowing.
Mm-hmm.
So she doesn't know where she's been for the last 40 years, 50 years. So she crouches down and grabs her mom's hand and says, "No, Mom, it's me," and gives her a hug. And that's how the movie ends.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
With like another crappy monologue, like at the end of Halloween Ends.
You know, it would be way cooler if like you find out that Reagan goes through and becomes a professional exorcist or something.
Yeah. That's what I thought they were actually going to do. I thought they
or
were
the
going
mom.
I know that's a little bit like you say comic booky, in some ways, but
or the mom did. She just because she kept saying she studied all these religions, but she doesn't practice anything.
Or it could be a mother-daughter thing.
Yeah, right. A tag team, a duo.
It would be just like the Pope's exorcist, except female.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. So
I'm just messing around, but I don't know.
I mean, listen,
it would be better than what happened.
Those ideas were better than what got put on screen.
You know what I just realized, and like I said about with that being the director, fucking Halloween Ends. The last two Halloween Ends movies ended with really fucked up long monologues that were dumb, and guess what?
This one did too.
This director is fucking in love with monologues.
He needs to go back to making movies like Pineapple Express. That's where he started. That's where he needs to go back. That's where he needs to go back.
That's where the monologue makes sense because they're stoners.
Yeah.
All they do is
that's what he needs to go back to.
You know what I mean? How
some
guys philosophize about bullshit.
Well, yeah, because he's high and he's thinking, and
whatever.
Like, go back to that. Like, go back to Pineapple Express. Get out of the horror genre.
I was gonna say it in a really bad way. Go back to where you came from.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I know, but I mean that's what got him successful. Go back to it. Stay out of the horror.
Stick to comedy.
You're out of your depth. Get out. You're not good.
You're not. No.
So
is that why Danny McBride is one of the writers?
Probably.
I'd imagine so.
So yeah, this was.
Because that's where he started, Pineapple Express.
Yep. So this is a very interesting first episode of our Spooky Spectacular since we're officially in October.
It's going to be only one of two, so it's not like it's a big deal.
Oh yeah, what are we doing? Are we going to watch the next? We're going to watch Heretic and then the third one.
Yeah, we'll watch them. We'll get them in.
All right.
I've never seen those, so I'll get to it.
Okay.
Heretic is on Netflix.
Yes.
I don't know. We'll have to look up the third one. I don't know where it's at.
Yeah, we'll find it for you. I'll let you know where it's at.
I can look it up.
But, all right, we'll call that an episode.
Well,
that's what we want to call it.
Greg, you really contributed.
Well, I mean...
Because it's your passion.
It is.
It is.
Make sure bad movies never happen again.
I can't let this happen to somebody else. We got to get that killer off the streets.
You killed that movie. Killed it.